this American drug war stuff is just out of control, man. Especially when you got the DEA going across sovereign territory into another country and plucking somebody out and putting them in prison in America, man. That is an outrage. Especially when all they're doing is selling seeds. Mark Emery of Cannabis Culture magazine, the Canadian activist and entrepreneur and philanthropist, is serving 5 years in a federal penitentiary in America. He's a Canadian. He's serving time in America for something that's not a crime in Canada, and Canada extradited him to the United States, which shows you how powerful the DEA's arms are. It's beyond wrong. It's a crime against humanity. It's appalling. It's a U.S. embarrassment. It's a disgrace. And you know, if Mark Emery could be here talking to you, he would be, but he's in prison. So, you know, we don't stop when there's an obstacle. We say, no, man, we're gonna have the next best thing, and that is his incredibly beautiful and vivacious wife, Jodie Emery. Give it up from Canada, from Cannabis Culture magazine, my sister, my power sister, Jodie Emery.
Thank you all so much for being here. I don't like to stand behind a podium because I get pretty passionate. You know, Seattle is an amazing, beautiful city, and I love coming here because as a Canadian, I've been watching as the U.S. drug war destroys lives day after day after day. And in 2005, when the U.S. came into Canada and took my Canadian husband into arrest to face life in U.S. prison, I knew that the U.S. drug war had really hit home. And I knew what it felt to be one of those people who have lost their loved ones to this insanity. And it was most offensive because Mark never even left Canada. Mark was the leader of the BC Marijuana Party, and in 1994, he decided to start selling marijuana seeds to finance the marijuana movement. He gave money to Marijuana Policy Project and every organization in the United States. He gave money to Colorado, Washington, D.C., Nevada, and other states so they could fight to make medical marijuana legal. He went and sued the federal government and brought medical marijuana users together to defend themselves in court against the U.S. feds. He spent over $4 million over a decade for freedom, because even though he's Canadian, we believe in our American brothers and sisters' right to be free to use a harmless plant, to be free from oppression, for hurting no one else. You should never be hurt, especially not by your government. Mark's dream was to see marijuana legal not just in the United States, but in Canada and around the world, and he donated that money. And when the DEA arrested him, they didn't even mention seeds in the press release. They said the marijuana movement had one less pot of money to rely on. They said that Mark Emery was the leader of a legalization group and they had got their man. And now Mark is serving 5-year sentence, a plea bargain instead of life. His co-accused, Michelle, died of cancer last year. His other co-accused is still working with me to keep the message going through Pot TV, Cannabis Culture, and all the work that we do. So thank you to Americans for leading the way, because Canada is not the land of the free that we once were. We have a George Bush-type government for the next 4 years, and they are introducing mandatory minimums for marijuana. They have brought private prisons into Canada. They are going after the sick and the dying, and I am going to fight against our government. But I need Americans to be the example of why these laws don't work, and you are the example. Look at what's happening across the United States. You have cannabis and medical marijuana and decrim and legalization and so much going on. We have amazing representatives of every level of government putting their voices behind this movement, because we are good and we are right and we are true and we deserve to be free. Seattle Hempfest is a phenomenal event, the biggest marijuana event in the world, and they let you come here for free. But it's not free to put on. So if you see a Seattle Hempfest donation box, give them at least $1, maybe 10, maybe 50. And I'll be at the Sealy stage tomorrow, and I'll be making sure everybody throws money towards that bucket, because this event deserves your support Every marijuana organization in this country deserves your support, and you cannot stand down. Not now, not while your brothers and sisters are dying and suffering in prison, not while the non-violent people's lives are destroyed by a government out of control. The United States is the world's biggest jailer, and that is nothing to be proud of. And you must continue to remember people like my husband, people like the thousands and thousands of nameless, faceless prisoners who deserve to go home to their loved ones too. My husband will be free in under 3 years, free to come home to me, but we're not going to stop. They're going to regret having done this to us, because I know the pain. I've seen the children crying. I've seen the husbands with their wives who just wish they could be home because they didn't hurt anybody. So please promise me this, America. Promise me that you will not give up, and every single day you will talk to someone, you will make a phone call, you will write a letter, you will post on Facebook, you will give $100 to an organization, you will help a medical marijuana user. Whatever you do every single day, do something for freedom. Our lives depend on it. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you for having me. Let's welcome our prestigious, wonderful speaker.